What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I am working on replacing and upgrading the fuel system on the D100. Keep watching and I'll show you what I have in mind. Alright, so a few videos ago you had seen where I had removed and replaced the existing fuel tank, or the original fuel tank, with one out of a Ram Charger. Doing so pretty much meant that I needed to replumb the fuel lines. I could have tied into the old existing hard line that ran along the frame, but part of my plans for this truck has always been to go fuel injection. So going fuel injection means I need to replace the engine-driven mechanical fuel pump with an electric fuel pump that can supply the amount of fuel that the EFI needs. So that means pretty much redoing and replacing the entire fuel system. So the fuel pump that I decided to go with is from DJI. This pump can supply, I believe it's about 100 PSI. I'm probably going to go with a Holley EFI. Haven't really completely decided yet, but that, I know the Holley has an internal regulator that regulates the fuel pressure to about 58 PSI or so. So the DJI fuel pump can more than supply enough fuel for that EFI system. Also, I want to make sure that I have a good fuel filter before the pump, just to ensure that no crud from this old tank or anything that might get in later or anything can foul the pump, foul the fuel system, and just cause problems down the line. So in looking up fuel filters, I had found one that had the required input and output size lines that I wanted. I wanted to go with -6 AN lines. So I decided to go with Red Horse Performance. Found them online, found some good information on them, so I ordered a fuel filter from them. This video is not, there's no sponsorship. I paid for the fuel filter, but I wanted to come out and say that Red Horse Performance, their customer service was incredible. I had ordered a frame mount for the fuel filter, and the one that I wanted wasn't available, so they reached out to me and said, hey, we apologize that the one you ordered isn't available. We're going to go ahead and give you the option of picking the color one that you want, whatever, to replace it. Which I thought was really cool. A lot of times it seems like companies just will wait to ship your order until what you ordered is available. But they reached out and they said, hey, sorry for the inconvenience. We're going to go ahead and give you your choice of colored mount, and we're going to throw in some free swag to go, just for the inconvenience, which I thought was really cool. So, just a kudos to Red Horse Performance. Really appreciate the customer service, and I'll definitely be looking at them down the line if I have any other needs. So, in figuring out how I'm going to mount and run my fuel lines, I also had to replace the sending unit out of the tank, out of that Ram Charger tank. The one that the sending unit that was in the tank originally was just shot. It was horrible. It had the filter on the end of it had fallen apart and left all kinds of crud in the tank. My sending unit out of the original tank that I had just wouldn't work either. That one was probably just as bad. So I had to obviously find and order a new one. So I got that done. Then I had to figure out how I was going to run my lines and where I was going to mount the fuel pump and the fuel filter. Now, it's a pump, not a suck. So they say you're supposed to mount it as close to the tank as possible and as close to level with the bottom of the tank as possible. Unfortunately, the way that I'm set up here, the way that I installed the tank, where I installed it, and just the access available, that wasn't really possible. So I'll show you where I mounted the pump and the filter, and I'll show you what I did to kind of get everything plumbed in. I'm still working on it. I still got to install some more clamps, and then I'm still working on the hard line also. I'll show you what's going on there. Here you can see how I routed my fuel lines. I ran a feed and a return. It's a -6 AN line, or 3/8 of an inch feed line, along with, I believe it's a 1/4 inch return. I ran both the lines. I added some zip tie mounts to the top of the tank. I'm waiting on some more acrylic adhesive to add a few more. I got those zip tie mounts from Aircraft Spruce and Specialty. We use them a lot where I work, and the acrylic epoxy, it won't let go unless you have like a cold chisel. This stuff is amazing. So right now I just have it kind of mocked in place with regular zip ties. I'll be replacing everything with metal zip ties just so that I don't have to worry about the plastic ones eventually deteriorating and failing on me. So then I ran the fuel line up, and like I said, I have to add some more mounts, and I'm running it along the fuel line. Now originally I was going to put the fuel pump and filter in that area, but I just couldn't get a good mount that I was happy with. And it was kind of high on the tank, and not that it really matters since it's pumping the fuel up from the bottom of the tank through the sending unit and then up the frame. So yeah, I decided to move the fuel pump and filter to right behind the cab there. It was a more level location, a little more room, and it was just easier to work with. And plus, I wanted a place that I was sure was going to have enough access that I could get in there and replace the filter. You know, take the filter out and clean it out and replace it as needed. I have a feeling it's going to happen here. I'll probably run the pump and the filter for a while, eventually to help flush the tank. I've already flushed it a couple of times, but I'm sure there's probably still some stuff in there. So again, I just wanted to make sure that I had enough access to be able to get in there, replace the filter, replace the pump if needed. If the pump fails, I didn't want it to be between the tank and up in the frame rail back there, where I'd have to either pull the bed or drop the tank in order to replace the pump and filter. So that's why they are right there behind the cab. Here you can see I'm in the process of removing the original hardline and replacing it with some 3/8 aluminum hardline. I haven't quite decided yet where I'm going to terminate the hardline. I'm thinking right back there by the firewall inside the frame rail. I'm thinking about just terminating the hard line there, adding an AN fitting, and then that way I can just run a flexible line from there up to the EFI. And I'll probably do the same thing with the return line, just have them both terminate right there. It'll be an easy place to get to disconnect the fuel line if I ever have to pull the engine out again or do any real severe maintenance to this thing. It'll make it easy to get things in and out. And there it is. There's the first part of getting my fuel system figured out and installed. Obviously there's still more to be done. I need to tighten that AN fitting on the hard line. I need to finish routing the return line and just do some more securing everything in place. Next I hope to be figuring out the fuel filler. I've got some stuff on the way for that. I think I got that pretty much all worked out. Once I have the fuel filler all figured out, then I'll be able to get that installed, get the bed back on, then I'll be able to finish the exhaust. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later.